Hello, today we're going to talk about self-care action plan. That's right, self-care action plan. So you want to go ahead and subscribe and click the notification bell so that you don't miss anything coming, right? Hello, welcome to my channel. On my channel, it's all about taking your life and business back with your pen. So that means I talk about planning, action steps to help you get productive, to help you stop self-sabotaging and help you gain loyal, returning customers in your business. I am a life and business coach, aka the coaching consultant. I also have an MBA and a graduate certificate in professional accounting. Okay, so I'm not new to this. I'm true to this. I spent 20 years helping individuals in the corporate world excel, right? Manage budgets over $5 million. I was in government contracting, supervised or managed staff from 150 to 200 people in 2 different locations, trained managers, supervisors, employees. Y'all, I've done a lot. I'm a best-selling author. I am a YouTuber with the podcast, I'd like to say. I'm a speaker as well, if you didn't know it. So today we're going to talk about self-care, right? We're going to talk about creating a self-care action plan. That's creating a self-care action plan. Now, this is actually day 8 of my Vlogmas Christmas thing, where I came to you all every day to give you some tips, some tricks in the areas of life and business, right? Because y'all, we're going into the next year, into 2022, like, like superheroes. Because day 1, we talked about creating a life plans. Day 2, we talked about the side hustles I used to free myself of $204,000 of debt. Day 3, we talked about the belief in success and life and business. Day 4, we talked about the difference between marketing and sales. Day 5, we talked about time management, productivity tips for small businesses. Day 6, we talked about the importance of planning in your business, your small business. Day 7, we talked about how to go from self-sabotage to self-improvement. And that's the reason why we're talking about how to create a self-care action plan today. So before I really give you the steps on what to put in your self-care action plan, I want to talk about why is it important? Why is it important? So first of all, I want to say that on the 15th, it's so important to me that I made myself my own holiday. On the 15th of every month, I call it Love Myself, Love Me More Day. Love Myself More Day. I kind of had a tongue twister there, but it's Love Myself More Day. And it's just a day that I devoted to at least spending a minimum of an hour or more on self-care. Okay, so why self-care is important? Now, for me, learning to take care of myself helps me stay in the light. And what I refer to as staying in the light is when I was in depression, I was literally trapped inside myself, right? That's what I call darkness, right? So it helps reduce anxiety and depression, right? It reduces stress. It makes you more resilient. It helps you be happier. It increases energy. It reduces burnout. And it just gives you a stronger interpersonal relationship. It helps you have self-love and self-compassion for yourself, right? Because if you listen to the yesterday's post, it was all about self-sabotage, right? And this is one of the ways to end self-sabotage by creating you a self-care plan. Now, there are a few areas that I'm going to briefly mention that the self-care action plan should cover. One is your emotional self-care, two is spiritual self-care, three is mental self-care, two is social self-care, and four is physical self-care. I think I left out one, so I'm gonna repeat it. One is emotional, two is spiritual, three is mental, four is social, and five is physical. I named them, I just skipped the number. So let's go on to the easy one. The easy one is physical self-care. You might when you creating a plan, any type of action, any type of plan, you want to ask yourself real questions and answer them honestly. You don't have to tell anybody, but you need to tell yourself, right? Now, self-care plan is actually something that they actually teach you when you go through therapy and stuff. But it's all the way around great for your mental stability, period. You don't even have to be suffering from depression like I was. But it's important to me that I share the tools and the skills or tactics that I use to be my best self, right? So in this area, you want to ask yourself, because when we think about physical, did I eat? Did I sleep? Am I allowing myself recharge? Did I exercise? Those things are topics that you should ask yourself questions about to feel that. And actually, you want to be realistic. In your self-care plan, you want to create a goal for it, right? And it doesn't have to be anything drastic or anything. You can't say, I'm going to save the world. One thing it could be, I'm going to make sure that it's my goal to get 8 hours. I'm just saying 8 hours of sleep on a daily basis. And so your action plan for sleep may just be, okay, you want to cut off the caffeine, like maybe 3 or 4 hours before you go to bed, cut off all the water 2 to 3 hours before you go to bed. You may not want to do any physical activity to 3 to 4 hours before you go to bed, or whatever time you may have, right? So those are action steps for you to do it, because the goal is for you to get 8 hours of sleep, because with 8, and you want to connect this to your why, because you're at your best self, you're able to think clearly, you're able to work the long hours that you are and provide for your family, and you're able, when you have a restful body, you have a restful mind, and a restful mind, you can do anything that's possible, right? So that would be an example for physical care, and I wanted to tackle this because that was easy. So social self-care has to do with building relationships with other people. And you're like, well, how is that self-care? Okay, so you want to ask yourself, are you getting enough? Are you spending more time with friends? Do you have friends? Do you need to learn how to build relationships so that you can have friends if you don't have any friends? What are some things you can do, right? Because with the social, you may be feeling lonely because you spend too many hours by yourself and not with other people, right? So this is why this is self-care, because being around other people is important too, right? It's important, right? Even though we're talking about self-care, because you want to have a well-rounded, I said overround, but well-rounded, just vibe about yourself, energy, right? And you want to make sure that you're doing some healthier activities. You don't want to just waste all that time. It's great to have fun, but don't overindulge. Anyway, that's a side note. So the next thing we're going to talk about, and this is why I said a lot of mental health people use this, because the mental self-care is just when you check in with yourself, right? Check in are you practicing self-compassion? Are you practicing self-love? Are you doing things to keep you mentally healthy? Are you reading to keep your mind sharp? Doing puzzles, doing trivia, or whatever it is that you enjoy that helps keep you focused, keep you calm, keep you relaxed. Right? And so you create a goal with that one and you put steps in there. So next is spiritual self-care. Now, spiritual self-care can include religion or spirituality, but it doesn't have to. I'm gonna say it again. It can include religion or just spirituality, but it doesn't have to involve both. And it doesn't really have to involve a belief in the higher power. It can just be the way your center, right? So in this, you want to, focus on meditating, right? If it's religion, you may want to attend some religious services, or it may be praying, or just whatever you feel connects you to your spirituality. It could be just sitting there and not doing anything. It could be taking hot Epsom salt bath to release all the negative energy. That's like a spiritual or thing, and it doesn't involve a higher power. It just involves the way you feel and your senses, right? Which brings us to the next one, which is the emotional self-care, right? This is where you check in with yourself and you check in on how you feeling. Are you feeling anxious? Are you feeling anxiety, some sadness? It may be time for you to do whatever the self-care is. Like, for instance, journaling, maybe a method that you use to get yourself back focused and stuff, to relax yourself. Or it may be having fun with your friends for self-care. So there you have it. I gave you an example of it, but just remember, I'm just going to repeat the steps. You want to assess your needs, consider your stressors. You want to create some strategies to preventive maintenance to keep those stressors or triggers from causing, negativity in your life, right? So you want to attract positivity in those areas, or positive things in the areas. So you create methods or things you can do to get those things done, right? And that includes creating boundaries, right? So you want to have, and in doing that with the boundaries and stuff, and how you going to control the triggers, you're creating a plan for challenges that you may take. But remember, when you do it, you want to take small steps and schedule time to not only do the task, but to review and make changes, because it's okay. It's okay. And that, my dearies, is how you create a self-care action plan. Make sure you subscribe and click the notification bell. And if you had not watched the how to go from self-sabotage to self-improvement, I'm going to put that at the end of this video, and it'll be in the description below. Make sure you watch it. Don't forget to subscribe and click the notification bell. I'll see you tomorrow.